What's up, babes? I don't know. I feel like I need to like have a way to start these videos, like just some kind of intro. Not like an edited intro. Just like I might make it sup, babes. We'll see. Anyway, obviously you can tell from the title, but as someone who hasn't created the title yet, and I'm making the video now, I'm gonna tell you that this video is gonna be about One Piece and how One Piece is going to be the most videos that I'll make on this channel. I plan on making one a month at least. If there's something crazy going on, there might be spoilers. This one's not really going to be spoilers. It's just going to tell you kind of why I love One Piece so much, why One Piece is something that everyone and anyone should get into if you're into anime and manga. My journey through One Piece, because I've been attached for decades. Yeah, why you should get into it for sure, and like the end of One Piece, if that ever happens, which according to Oda, maybe never, but getting into it. So, I wasn't too into reading as a kid, but my mom would still take me to the library with me and my brothers, and I believe it was my older brother who found the first 3 manga that I started getting into, and that was Rave Master, which has been done for a while. It was not well received. I will be doing a video on that at some point. It was not well received, and is made by the same guy who made Fairy Tail, which Fairy Tail kind of caught on, but I believe Rave Master's way better. Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, because I was kind of in a spot, because I mean Dragon Ball's way back in the technically 80s. I think it started in 86, but there was Z at the time, and I'm trying to think about where they were. They weren't quite done with Z when I first started, because I remember that it ended pretty recently when I first started with the Boo Saga, and then obviously GT was a thing. I didn't get too into GT. I do know GT, just because I feel like if you've been a fan of Dragon Ball long enough, you know GT. But I made a video super last week, so let me start talking about One Piece, and the last one was One Piece. And One Piece being the most consistent of the bunch. I could make an entire video on why Oda is probably the best mangaka ever. What he's done over plus 2 decades of an ongoing series with no, what's the word? No Shippuden. No sequel, no prequels, just one ongoing story is amazing. So yeah, I first started One Piece, I think around when they're first starting to get into the Grand Line, right? I remember as a wee little lad, and I actually looked it up, but the first chapter that I remember, or the first volume, because I was reading these in volumes. Obviously, I'm chapters now, because I get one chapter at a time now, but it's still worth. Volume 15, the one with Dory and Bragi, called Straight Ahead. I remember reserving that at the library, and I looked it up, and the release date for that, at least in Japan, was September of the year 2000. So I've been reading One Piece for a very long time. Now, I'm going to come clean right now and tell you that I have not watched all the anime. I haven't. I've watched all the good clips. I've watched all the good sections of it. I am watching it kind of right now. I'm going to watch it all the way through, but I started reading it, and obviously I'm going to finish reading it, but I love the series so much that it's worth watching the soon-to-be 1,000 episodes. We've already eclipsed 1,000 chapters, and I know that the anime is not far behind, but they're picking up the animation. Anyway, so I read through that, and then we got through the Alabasta arc, I believe, and I kind of like took a step back from it. I knew that I would always come back to it. And with a lot of manga nowadays, I'll start it and be like, I'll come back to you when you're done. Because it's so much nicer to binge an entire read than having to like chapter at a time. But it got to the point where I was like, this one's not ending. So they finished, I'm trying to remember. They finished Thriller Bark, I believe. And then I decided that's when I was going to get caught up. So I did Skypiea, and I would check back in now and again, but I would read it straight. So then I read all of Skypiea, Enies Lobby, which is still my favorite. I love Water 7 and Enies Lobby so much. I still believe that it is the best arc in One Piece. But if you're not hooked at that point, that's going to get you hooked quick. And I even have a buddy who recently, so from Enies Lobby, you go to Thriller Bark, which I believe is a bottom 3 arc. It has some great moments, but the pacing's a little rough, and some of the fights aren't as great as some other arcs. But after that, you hit what I call prime time, which is something that I was reading live. I remember seeing, I think it was chapter 59, 60, and 61 with Whitebeard at Marine Ford, Akainu and Luffy with the frozen log. Some of those volumes were amazing. I even visited the library, probably the same library where I got the 15th volume. I visited the library again just so I could look at the cover pages, because these cover pages are actually like beautiful. Now don't look too much at that one, just because that's number 99 and that is number 1, aka Romance Dawn. But yeah, so I started doing that, and then after the time skip, I took another break around Fishman Island. I think I remember reading a little bit of Fishman Island, like chapter to chapter, but I was kind of like, this one will finish and we'll get to something more exciting. I think Fishman Island is the worst arc in the entirety, but it's right after prime time, so if you're not already committed, which I was very committed. I mean, at this point, I had been reading One Piece at least a full decade, so obviously I'm going to keep reading. And fast forward to what they started doing after the time skip. And what happened before is they would go arc to arc defeating villains. But what kind of happens in the new one is it's a huge build up to the final conclusion of a grand arc or a saga. I forget the exact difference between those two, but I remember it was explained at some point. I think it's a saga. But the saga with Kaido. And that's where we're at now. And this is the most exciting part of One Piece I think we've ever been in, just because of how much this means. Having two emperors just hanging out, having the main character fight them, and having all the supernovas come together, and Wano being a thing, the poneglyphs coming out, only probably having 3 islands, and the end of One Piece is near, at least we think. Oda's been saying, he said 5 years, like 3 years ago, and I'm like, dude, there's no way you're finishing this. And I think he knows that too. He's built such a large ship, if you will, such a large encompassing journey that he can't leave anything unwritten. At this point, Naruto has a special place in my heart as well, but One Piece and Naruto I think are going to end as both tied for number 1. That being said, if One Piece actually blows it out of the water, which I trust Oda wholeheartedly with the end of One Piece, then I think it'll be the best. I mean, I already think it is the best manga, but Naruto just kind of has me with the nostalgia a little bit. But no matter who I recommend One Piece to, and this is kind of like my selling portion, if you will, because a lot of people don't want to start One Piece. A lot of people are like, that's way too long. And I understand it, and I will always recommend that you read it. But a lot of people don't read, they just want to watch, and that's totally fine. The anime is great. It is great. But it is a little bit slower. But I recommend it. I had that buddy who recently started, and he was so like hooked after Enies Lobby, which can be tough to get through because Skype is very long, but it's not bad, but it is long. Enies Lobby, after that, he read through Thriller Bark because I was like, there's a little bit of a speed bump, but after that is prime time. And after that, he's messaging me about how this is like, he's like, it was so worth it. Even after, I don't even know what that is, maybe 400, 500 episodes. It's just a lifetime journey. It's something that I'm so glad I started early, because I could have been one of those people that was like, it's too long. But at the end of the day, it's not. It's quality over quantity, and when you get both, that's One Piece. So make sure that you do that. I trust Oda in the end. I'm going to be making a ton more videos on theories I have for spoilers and stuff that's happening right now in the future. But that's kind of my closing argument or point on not only why you should watch it, but why I love it. So after I got caught up, Fishman Island, and then I was reading Dressrosa live. And I've reread the entire series through Wano 3 times. I think I read it at Dressrosa once and then Wano twice. The entire thing, from 1 to 1000. Just because it is that good and you forget a lot. But there's a lot to discuss. And that's kind of the biggest thing, is how big the world is. This is the best world building manga or anime that's ever existed ever. And it's so well put together. There's so many unanswered questions that everyone's just like, how is this man going to do it? but I believe in him. And I think majority of One Piece fans believe in him because of how many payoffs he's given us already. But yeah, I would, without question, recommend that everyone read or watch One Piece. Read first if you want to save yourself some time. Like I said, I've read through it a couple of times. But I've been caught up to the chapter now for too long. Too long. All of Wano, all of Whole Cake, one single chapter at a time. And then the years just start going by. It's already 2021, and it looks like Wano might be ending. Maybe. But we don't know. And the fact that that man said like 2 more years, but he's been saying that, it's not going to happen. But I love discussing it with people. I discuss it with Jesus all the time. I'll probably have him on here one of these times just so we can have a huge discussion. My brothers, like everyone. And we just go into this zone. Like you can just keep discussing like who wins in a fight between these two, which admirals, warlords, emperors, who's the strongest, who wins in a fight between these guys. It's never ending. It's never ending. There's so many mysteries in the One Piece world too. What's the One Piece? Like what is the One Piece? I still don't know. And I've been in this shit for 2 decades. But yeah. So One Piece is amazing. Please go read or watch it. You will not regret it, and I promise you, you will not regret it. It is a time investment, but it is so worth. Too many people just read and watch the small ones, and I understand that, but just commit to one big one. And just watch it over time, too. You don't even have to watch it every single day and be dialed in. The pacing on the anime is a little bit slow, where you can almost have it as like background. Just a little bit of background where you're like, oh, okay, so that's happening. And then you slowly go through it, and then you get really invested, super invested. At some point, you're going to be caught up to the chapter with me. I've seen it too many times before on people I recommend One Piece, and they finish the anime, and they need to know what happens next. That's where I am. That's where I am, chapter to chapter. In fact, I have a break. We have a break this week. I'd be reading this chapter today at 2 in the morning on Friday, which is probably when this is going to come out. But sadly, it's on break because Oda needs a break, and I trust him. I trust Oda. So read One Piece. I love it. Obviously, clearly, look at this one right here. It's tough to find One Piece apparel, posters, all that stuff because Western audiences have not accepted it as much as like it's #1 in Japan by miles, and I think Europe too. Don't quote me on that, but yeah. Read and watch One Piece. I promise you it's the best thing you'll ever do in terms of nerddom. But that's all I really have to say on the matter. So thanks for watching. Subscribe if you like it. We're going to be talking more about One Piece in the future and some other things. I was going to make this video about the next Straw Hat, which is obviously very spoiler related. But I was like, that can wait. My first One Piece video is going to be about why I love it. And I love it, and you should read and watch it too, so that you can watch these videos. Because there is going to be spoilers for a lot of stuff that's coming out. I've like kind of spoiled things today, but not really. If you don't know what it is, you'll be fine. Read and watch it. Thanks, guys. Adiosa.